granted, if this guy ever gets healthy and gets back to the level that he played at in Buffalo, he's a great player. I mean, there's no question. When he was at his highest level and was playing healthy and playing at a high level, he was the best free safety in the NFL. There's no other way, two ways about it. I mean, he led the NFL in interceptions, I believe, in 2013. So, I mean, this is a guy when he's playing at his peak level, he's one of the best.
Well, Barry, but was that because he had a really excellent front four?
Front seven, yeah, and yes, and absolutely, he benefited greatly from that Marcel Darius. I think I can't pronounce it. I never can pronounce his name. Posluski. I can't ever say the guy's name, but I mean, just an outstanding front seven that Buffalo's had and still has. So yeah, no, I totally agree with that. That said, he did play at a high level. He was one of the best. So I understand why they went after him. I understand the thought process that went into it because they thought, well, if we put this guy, Vaccaro, by all accounts, was a great pick in 2013. So their reasoning was, now we're going to have two of the best safeties, in the NFL with Vaccaro and Bird back there. And it made sense at the time, but you can't predict, how these things are going to play out. And obviously it blew up in their face. I mean, there's no other way to say it. So he's the key to everything because I think they are stubbornly, to their own detriment, they're stubbornly going to stick with this guy and hope against hope, I guess, that he's going to work out. And that's, that's great. But now, to their credit, they got a backup plan. They've got Von Bell. Do I think he's going to start? I don't know. I have to see I'll have to see him in the camp, the preseason, before I can make that determination. I'm going to guess that they think Bell is good enough that if they're forced to put him in there, that he can handle it. They may have gotten lucky, and not even intending to get lucky and got lucky with the Eric Harris kids from the CFL because from what by all accounts so far in minicamp and OTAs, Eric Harris looks great and he can play either spot. He could play the free or the strong safety and play that kind of a hybrid role where he kind of comes up to the line of scrimmage and almost like a linebacker, almost like a strong side linebacker even. So that might be their saving grace as well. So we'll have to see. I like, of course, Vaccaro is he's that core player back there. He's the guy that it all revolves around. So you don't have to worry about Vaccaro. He's good. So to me, that free safety spot will ultimately make or break them. And then you got to look at the two corners. Now, obviously, Delvin Breaux is going to be a lockdown superstar type of, elite cover corner. So you don't have to worry about that side. Biggest worry to me is Keenan Lewis. I mean, here's a guy who's had 3 surgeries in less than 1 calendar year. Sports hernia, torn ACL, and a recurring hip injury. So that's 3 different parts of his lower body that he's had addressed with surgeries within a calendar year. Now, I don't care, what kind of athlete, what kind of shape you're in. The human body taking 3 surgeries, in less than a year, and I can tell you somebody's had a bunch of surgeries. To come back and play as a professional athlete with all this, I'm not saying he can't do it. I don't want to ever belittle Keenan's ability or to sit here and suggest that he can't do it because he'll prove me wrong. If anybody can prove me wrong, it's Keenan Lewis. I don't have any doubts about that. And he's even tweeted me as such. So, but that said, it's a concern. It's a legitimate concern. Now, okay. I like what P.J. Williams brings to the table. And by all accounts, he's going to be another solid, pro player. But, until we see him do it, until I actually see him do it, I can't say with a great deal of confidence that side is covered. So that's going to continue to be a vulnerability. They're going to be vulnerable at that corner spot. People are not going to pick on Delvin Breaux. They're going to pick on either PJ if he's in there or Keenan if he's in there, because they think that Keenan can't is not up to speed and can't cover like he used to, which is probably 100% accurate at this point.
Okay, good. We have a caller. Hey, we have a caller from Gulfport, Mississippi area, 228. Caller, welcome to the show. Do you have a question for the panel?
Is this me?
Yeah. Who are you?
Yeah, Will. I'm Will from Gulfport.
Hey, what's going on, Will? Welcome to the show.
Thanks. Really good discussion, guys. I think, that safety position is going to be key, because most of the time we're basically going to be in a 3-safety type scheme, aren't we?
Yeah. Coach, you want to take that?
Sure. The one thing that they do have this year that they've been lacking is that if they have all hands on deck, they've got a great deal of versatility. It's going to be interesting to see how they use Roman Harper, but are they going to use if both corners, Delvin and Keenan, are healthy? Does P.J. Williams become your nickel back? Does Damian Swan become your nickel and your dime back? Are you using corners in those positions as opposed to safeties?
What do you think about Arizona, the way they use Buchanan? That kid's, what is he, 225? And he's basically the middle linebacker?
Well, he's an inside backer.
Can't you use Roman Harper on the outside, something like that, maybe?
That's a possibility, but Harper is more. He could not play inside like the Buchanan kid can play. He's a unique player, and there's a lot of teams in the league trying to get to that. But that's where the Donnell Ellabys, the Nate Stupars of the world, because Robertson was playing the middle backer in mini camp, and Stupar was at the weak side backer. And the Saints right now would rather use those people at that weak side linebacker position. Laurinaitis at the mic along with Robertson, but also in nickel and dime situations is when Stephon Anthony will come back inside and play middle back or nickel and dime situations. I think one of the keys, and really the point that you've brought up here, is that the Saints have a bunch of pretty good players defensively that have some unique skills. Not so much every down players, but a lot of guys that are almost specialists at what they're doing.
Right.
Yes, yeah. And so and how Dennis Allen uses those guys is going to be a big key to the Saints defense during the course of the year. James Laurinaitis still is a very good player. I went back and looked at his tape from last year, and even though he was hurt,
smart kid,
and he's a good player. I hadn't missed a game in 7 years, but he is limited in your nickel and dime packages. He really can't be in the game, so he's going to be a first and second down type of player, and then you start subbing in at the Mike position. Nick Fairley,
at least we'll be lined up at first and second down, right? Hopefully, unlike last year, right?
Well, there's two factors in that. Number one, the scheme is going to be much better communicated and much better organized than it was last year, because it's been tradition with the Ryan family that you make an impact the first year and then you get worse each year after that. And they did have some issues. They put way too much pressure on Stephon Anthony to be able to control all of those things. So Laurinaitis is going to be able to help that, but I think the organization of the defense from a schematic situation under Dennis Allen is going to be better. And how Nick Fairley is used is going to be important. He's in much better shape right now than he was either of the last 2 years, but his effort, his consistency of effort has always been a question. He very easily could be a late down player to where now you take the nose out, move Rankins to the nose position. Fairley now gets to be a penetrating 3 technique. Opposite Cam Jordan, You got a bunch of guys that may be able to play there. So I think you get the gist that they can go 3 safeties, 4 safeties. They can go 3 corners, 4 corners. There's a bunch of combinations they could have there. How Dennis Allen uses those unique skills is a big story for the defense going into this season. Good points, Coach, and thanks, Will. Keep on the line. We'll get back to you. We have John Hendrix from the Who Dat Dish, as well as the Big Easy Blitz hosts. What's going on, John?
Hey, fellas, what's happening? I'm sorry I'm late to the party.
Oh, that's all right. It's not a party if you're not going to be here, man. So you got to get it started. So tell us this, John. You've been hearing us talk about the defense, and I wanted to concentrate a little bit longer on the defense because we have much to concentrate on there. But anything about the defense that you didn't hear Coach as well as Barry share that you like to give the listeners some ideas what to expect in training camp and through training camp?
Well, yeah, and a couple things stand out. The first thing, you guys are talking a lot about Jerry Bird, and I agree with Barry. I think Bird's going to be very important. But I think for him, I don't place total blame on him for last year, and a couple reasons why. I mean, yeah, it's easy to say that $54 million has got you 1 interception, and that came last year, week 12, maybe I think it was, against the Texans. That's pretty much what sums it up. But Bird still played in, I think, 82% snaps last year. But he talked about in December that the Saints defense, they couldn't get the fundamentals of communication right ever, and which I thought was pretty interesting. That's probably why we saw a lot of, Brandon Browner being burnt toast last year, a lot of different things, where they just essentially just got torched. I think with the Saints moving to that 3 safety set potentially, I think that favors Bird more like what he did in Buffalo. So I think there's a good bit. And the fact that he's, healthy at this point, not starting on the PUP list is just a real godsend. And for goodness sakes, just hope him and somebody like Keenan Lewis just aren't made out of paper mache, because it can go real south real quick for this defense. And you're hopeful of some of the backups and stuff. But shifting a little bit to the defensive line, let's talk about this for a second. The Saints had 31 sacks last year. Cam Jordan had 10 of them. If you had to guess who had the second most on the team, not many people may think about it or have the answer right there, but it was Crescent Edebali. He had 5.
Yeah, right.
Watcham had 2.5. But Edebali's a player who plays a lot like Junior Gillette. He can rush from the inside, rush from the outside. He's all the good qualities of Gillette, and I got to stress that, not the idiot, stupid qualities, but he's a player to watch. Obviously, I think they would use more of a committee approach in training camp with Edebali on the outside, Watcham on the outside, and obviously Toll, because Mickey Loomis even said it yourself today, they're going to find the answer, and it's imperative that they get the answer, because, you look at the last 2 years of sack production or the lack thereof, and it's just unexcusable. When Rob Ryan came in 2013, he had their most sacks on the team since they did in 2001, back in the Jim Haslett era. And you just look at Peyton historically, it's never been good. And we say all of this because all the Saints defense needs to do is be mediocre. That's all we're asking for. We don't need them to be terrible like they have been 3 out of the last 4 years. We just want them to be mediocre. We can't even get that for them to be contenders.
Okay, well, yeah, those are good points, valid points there. Brendan, before we get out of the defensive side, is there anything you would like to add?
Well, I think John brought up a good point there was you just have to be mediocre. And again, the professor and I spoke a little bit earlier today about that. I said right to him, I said, if the Saints defense can be at 20th best in the league, just 20th best in the league, this is a team that could make the playoffs and make a run in the playoffs because the offense got better. The defense got better, maybe. But this is, again, a team that if you look at it historically, you even look at the 2009 Super Bowl run, the team was 25th best in the league on defense. They just forced a lot of turnovers. If you're able to sit there and be a decent defense, we're going to be